No way. That just looks insane. Never thought that this would be possible. Do people even know about this yet? This video is sponsored by Artlist. So just last week, Google announced their brand new image model called Gemini Flash 2.5 image, also known as Nano Banana. And this update is just way too powerful for content creators. It's one of the most advanced AI models, and it's fixed a lot of the problems that we've had in the past with generative AI. From keeping characters consistent, being able to blend multiple images, and to finally getting results that actually look good. I mean, come on, how often do you get to see an epic portrait of yourself as an astronaut? And the best part is that Nano Banana is actually available on Artlist. So if you've already been signed up for Artlist and been using their music, sound effects, cinematic stock footage, you actually as well have now access to Nano Banana. And if you haven't yet signed up and you want to follow along in this video and try out these different generative AI tools yourself, I would highly recommend using the link in my description because you'll get 2 months free when you sign up. And of course, all the other good stuff that you can find on our list, you know, LUTs, plugins, tools, templates, they pretty much have everything and everything a creator would ever want in order to make high quality content. So if I'm brutally honest, up until this point, I've always felt like AI is cool and it's fun to play around with, but I haven't actually been able to find too many real life use cases for it yet. It always sounds great on paper, but then in practice, I've felt like AI has been a little bit of a flop. But testing out Nano Banana through Artlist Image Generator was actually the first time where I was like, wow, okay, this tool could actually help me in my everyday workflow as a creator. I spent multiple days brainstorming and testing out Nano Banana for different use cases. And I gotta say, there are a lot of exciting ways that you could use this as a creator. Now, a lot of you might be wondering, well, what makes Nano Banana so different from other AI models? And I think the first reason is its visual consistency. In the past, one of the biggest challenges for AI models has been keeping the consistency when it comes to different characters or objects so they're recognizable from shot to shot. But with Nano Banana, you can easily change the lighting, alter the scene, change it from one location to another, and the object or the character is still identifiable. As well, you can combine multiple images into one seamless and cohesive image. That could be that you're placing a character into a new location, or maybe you're adding an object onto a person. For example, if you want to test out a certain kind of jacket or jewelry on an image, it all is done very seamless and easy. And the last reason why Nano Banana is very exciting is that it's very quick. Literally under 30 seconds, you can get an image done. And that's a big deal because now in this day and age of everything's gotta be lightning speed, no one wants to be sitting around like a snail waiting. Because that feels like we're just going back to the days of dial-up and nobody wants that. So let's go over all the different use cases that I've come up for as a creator with Nano Banana. So when you open up Artlist, you can go to the front page and go down to AI, image, and video. And from here, you're gonna see that you have this text image. So here you can choose different styles for photos that you wanna create, and you can create images with just a text prompt. But as well here, you have image to image. So this is where you can upload an image, and you can upload a single image or multiple images, and depending on what you want to do to that image, you can then write a prompt and make those changes. So the first very obvious and great use case for Nano Banana is changing the weather or time of day. As a photographer, there's a lot of moments where you're hired to go on a shoot and you're not in control of the weather. So for example, I remember a few years back, we were in Ritz-Carlton Koh Samui, beautiful luxury hotel, and of course they wanted nice sunny weather. Well, lo and behold, our 5 nights at Ritz-Carlton Koh Samui, 0 of the days were sunny. Every single day it was cloudy or rainy. So of course we still had to shoot photos, but it would have been great if we would have had sunny weather. Well, that's where you can use Nano Banana. So for example, here I have this photo of my wife. She's sitting at the infinity pool and she's looking out into the distance, but as you can tell, it's a very cloudy and moody, not so bright sunny hotel kind of vibes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just drag and drop the image into the AI image generator. And then from there, we're just gonna write, transform this image into a sunny day. And we're gonna press generate. And And let's see what it creates for us. As you can tell, the loading bar is going really quickly, especially when it comes to the photo side. For videos, it does take longer, which is understandable because there's so many frames that it's creating. Let's upscale that as well to get the maximum quality out of the image. And now let's download that. Okay, and then we're just gonna bring that image into the same folder just so we can compare the two. So this was our cloudy day from Thailand, and then here is the sunny image. And it's crazy when you look closely, you can even see how the images have been relit in a new way. So for example, in the first image, the light is coming from the right and it's shining on my wife's face, but now the sun is coming from the left side and it's brightening her hair more and her face is darker. And this is crazy because this was just quick little prompt and now all of a sudden I have a sunny weather photo. This same situation happened the other day where a good friend of mine asked me to shoot some photos of his car, and lo and behold, because we live here in Finland, it was a cloudy day. So I shot this cool shot of his Fiat Coupe, this really cool old school car. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just drag the photo into the image generator, and then we're gonna write a prompt saying, make this car image shot on a cloudy day into a sunset photo shoot. And let's see, how does this prompt work? There's a lot of trial and error always with prompts, and I'm continually learning what works better or not. A nice little hack you can actually do is that I often will upload the two images, for example, into ChatGPT and explain to ChatGPT what I would like to do with that image, and then tell them to write a prompt for me that would work best with Nano Banana. And I found that that's been really helpful to get great results. All right, look at that. Let's upscale this still. As you can tell, I have been doing a lot of experimenting. I have this whole folder of things. Again, let's download this photo and then bring it to the folder so we can compare the two. So this was the original photo shot on a cloudy day with a little bit of rain already coming down, quite dark and moody. And voila, we have now an epic sunset shot with the car. One thing you do have to notice though, if you look closely on the text, AI is still having a very hard time with typography. So as you can tell, it doesn't say coupe anymore, it says something totally different. So that is one thing you gotta keep in mind when you're using the AI generator with Nano Banana. But still, it's insane to think that with a short little prompt, I got this sunset image, and I'm sure with more prompts and more refining, I get to the exact color or scheme that I would like for the image. Not only can you just change the weather for your photos going from cloudy to sunny, but as well you can change the time of day. So for example, I shot this photo during the middle of the day, but maybe I want a more moody evening shot or a night shot. So I'm just gonna do this to transform from day to night image. So again, we have the car shot in the daytime, and now here is a nighttime shot, which is really crazy. It's added a few little stars in the background. And here on the left side, it actually even added lights on the ground, as if, you know, at nighttime you have the hood light on. And yeah, that looks just really good. Again, same mistake with the typography text. It doesn't handle it very well. But this feature opens just a whole new world of just creative ideas and concepts. For example, you could do a stack of 3 photos, or, you know, even take this one photo and chop it up into 3 different layers, and you could have, you know, the cloudy, moody shot to the sunset shot to the night shot, and you could have that as like a stack or a carousel and just make really unique concepts. The second use case scenario for Nano Banana is changing seasons. So for example, last fall, I shot a photo in the Dolomites like this really cool top-down drone shot of this windy road. But what if I wanted to have a winter version of this photo and, you know, ask my audience, are you a fall foliage kind of person, or do you love the winter vibes? So then I could throw this image into the AI generator and then just write transform into a winter scene with blizzard. And let's see what kind of image it creates. A good thing to note is that when you're using Artlist AI generator for images, the amount of credits is actually not that much. So with the monthly amounts that you're getting, you can make a whole bunch of images. When we go to the video side, then it does eat up a lot more credits, which is understandable because it's very heavy duty. But let's download this winter photo. So here we have the fall foliage, and then here we have the winter photo. I maybe went a little bit wild by saying do it with a blizzard. Let's try a little bit different one. Let's just do transform into a winter season. Keep the car visible. Let's do another version. Again, there's always trial and error when it comes to any AI tool. It's not just some magic, cheat code that you can just create whatever. You have to do trial and error, and like any tool, learn how to use it and figure out how it works best. Because there's obviously ways where it works really well, and then other ways where it struggles. For example, that typography thing. AI is still struggling with that, so you gotta keep that in mind when you're making your images. Again, point proven. Now I have the fall foliage photo that I took in last October in the Dolomites, and here's the next shot. Looks way better right away. The road is more visible. The car is pretty much in the same spot. It's moved forward a little bit. But something I could do then that's cool with this is I could bring this into, for example, Photoshop. I could take half the image and bring it into Photoshop and bring it to the other image and line it up. And all of a sudden, I have this very cool fall green image to winter image. And I think an image like this would be really eye-catching on Instagram and just a really cool, unique, creative shot. All right, use case number 3, swapping in an object or a person into another image. So last year I was in Iceland and I took a really cool shot of my friend Gunnar. So this is Gunnar right here modeling for me at this very epic canyon waterfall location, but I don't have an image of myself there, but it would have been cool to as well have an image of me in this location. Well, I have this other photo where I'm modeling, and I think that I could take myself from this image and swap myself into this image. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna go to Art List, we're gonna drop in both these photos, and just to make sure that I get the prompt right, I'm gonna open up ChatGPT, and I'm gonna bring these 2 images as well. And I'm just gonna explain what I want to. I'm going to use Nano Banana in Art List AI generator. I want to switch myself, the man in black, and switch myself with the man with the green beanie in the Icelandic landscape. Write me a prompt for this AI image generation. And I think ChatGPT is often pretty good at making these prompts. It just helps because I'm not the best at copywriting. So here's a good one. Replace the man in the Icelandic landscape with the man dressed in all black, blackjack, blah, blah, blah. Preserve the dramatic cliffs natural. The man should be standing calmly on the edge of the cliff looking. Let's see how this works. And this is what I got, which is, I think, pretty dang good. Pretty cool. I'm all of a sudden posing in this exact shot. It was kind of interesting because the original shot was wearing white shoes, but now I have black shoes. But I think that actually looks pretty cool. It is a little bit of like a dreamy cartoon look, and I think that's where still there's improvement for the AI tools. But it's pretty crazy what I was able to accomplish by taking one portrait photo of myself and putting into the photo where Gunnar was. From there, we can go to use case number 4, which is creating multiple different angles from that same image. So I wanted to challenge Nano Banana and see what other kind of angles could I create from this one image. And, I thought this would be cool because then you can make, a stack of photos or a carousel with different angles. So I did one shot where, it's kind of looking over my shoulder into the waterfall like that. And these are just quick prompts that I used. I'm sure with more prompts, I could refine it, make it even better. Then as well, I was like, it'd be cool to have a really big drone establishing shot. So I have this shot where, it's looking from above as if a drone is flying above me and taking a shot of myself and the canyon. I did try some other ones. Not all of them worked like this one. Maybe my prompt just wasn't right, but it didn't quite work. This waterfall and the glasses of myself. So in no ways perfect every time, and there's definitely a lot of back and forth with the prompts, but you can make some pretty cool images. With the same idea, you could do storyboarding. For example, if you want to create a shot list for your future shoot, just so you remember what kind of angles you could create, you could make a whole bunch of images in kind of a mood board that then okay, I want these shots all taken during this shoot day. All right, use case number 5 is creating different YouTube thumbnail variations. So nowadays with YouTube, you have the A/B testing where you can upload up to 3 different thumbnails. And there might be times where you do a thumbnail photo where you're, looking a bit serious or sad. And so for example, in this image right here, I actually uploaded an image where I was looking quite serious and I was like, give it a slight smile or smirk. And this is what I created. I think this looks quite natural, and maybe the difference of, uploading the serious one with the slight smirk could be the difference between higher click-through rate. Or recently, for example, I shot a thumbnail of myself in my studio. It was pretty white backdrop, and then I have myself in the front. And, I thought maybe there's other variations of that angle that I could get to pop out more. So I played around with some different prompts. At first, I just said, add a complementary color to the back of the image. And then I wrote, and add the textures from my office. So all of a sudden, I have this image. And these different variations, you could then upload into YouTube and see which of them have the highest click-through rate. All right, the last and final use case scenario for Nano Banana is doing concept mock-ups. There's a lot of times where you're pitching an idea to a client or even to like an investor, and you need to show them through visuals what you are hoping to create. And a lot of times there's just not enough time or money to go out and actually shoot this kind of pre-concept in order to pitch. Rather, you need to, on the fly, create images. And I got to live out one of my childhood dreams of becoming an astronaut and going to the moon. So what I actually did was I took an image from the internet I found of an astronaut suit. And then I took this really close-up portrait of myself and I combined them together to create this. Let's get the upscale version because it's higher quality. I feel like I'm gonna make this my brand new Instagram profile picture because it's so dang epic that, with AI, I was able to create this concept mock-up of me in this epic astronaut suit. So in order for me to actually go make this suit and do this whole photo shoot would have cost tons of money. But if I could show the future client, this is what we're gonna go for. And if we have the budget, we wanna make this happen for the shoot. I did go one step above and actually turn it into a video, which is pretty dang cool. And then I had some more fun by turning myself into an astronaut walking on the moon. These video clips of me as an astronaut were actually created by VO3, which is again another brand new feature in Artlist where essentially with text prompts, you can make video clips with audio, which is just insane. There's a lot of interesting use cases for this that just wouldn't be possible back in the day, especially if you're not a professional visual effects artist, which I am in no way at all. So yeah, there's a lot of cool use case scenarios for Nano Banana, and the platform that I've been using is Artlist to have access to this tool. I'm sure there are a bunch of other use case scenarios for this tool, but these are the 6 use case scenarios that I came up with in the amount of time that I was just brainstorming and working on this project. Now, just a disclaimer to end this video, like with any cutting edge tool, Nano Banana is still evolving and there are certain moments where it still struggles. It's not perfect, like I said. So when it comes to stylization, even though it's very powerful, sometimes it can feel a little bit uneven or not matching. Or with the text, AI has a really hard time with typography and a lot of times there is misspelling. Or character features. Even though right now the consistency is pretty strong, it's still not perfect, but it'll only get better over time. And last, when it comes to aspect ratios, you could give a prompt for a certain output, but it might not always give you that exact output, so be mindful of that. To end this video off, I would love to hear from you guys, what do you think about Nano Banana, and what kind of real use case scenarios would you use this tool for? Because I'm really interested to see how other creators are creatively thinking about this tool.